Are you a bushel believer? There are lots of people out there who go to church on a regular basis. They turn up at church on a Sunday morning and sit in seats and listen to sermons over and over again. And yet what happens to those sermons? What happens to those messages? They leave the assembly, they leave the church and do nothing. Month after month after month, bushel believers. What do I mean by that? Well, Matthew chapter 5 tells us about putting a candlelight or light under a bushel, which means hiding that which you have, that which God has given you. Are you a bushel believer? You could be a bushel believer for many reasons, and maybe you've never really even heard about a bushel believer. There are loads and loads and loads of bushel believers all around the world. You're not the only one. And within you, you know that you have the gift, you know that you have a talent, you know that you have so much to offer, and yet it seems as if you're stuck. Let me tell you why you're stuck. There are many reasons why you might be stuck. Lack of confidence. Something that happened in your past that knocked your confidence. Lack of assertiveness. Something that happened in your past that beat you down, that broke you. Maybe because you tried and you failed. Maybe that failure was so big, or maybe it was public, or maybe it wasn't a one-time failure, and so now you've become a bushel believer. Maybe it's because you're comparing yourself to other people. You're looking at what others are doing and you compare yourself to them. And so then when you look at what they're doing and you look at what you have, it seems so insignificant, so you've become a bushel believer. Hiding what you have under a bushel. Keeping what you have in a corner, not letting anyone know that you have a gift, that you can sing, that you could write, that you're a poet, that you're a rapper, that you're a singer, that you're a preacher, that you're an evangelist, that you are a prophet. Are you a bushel believer? It's time for you to come out of hiding. The word tells me in Exodus chapter 2 that Moses is in hiding. He's hiding away because what? What he believed that he could do, what he believed that he was called for, it failed. He ended up murdering someone. He messed up, and he messed up big time. He was so ashamed, and not only was he ashamed, but he was afraid. Fear can be one of the biggest reasons why you become a bushel believer. Fear of what people might say, fear because you might get it wrong, fear because you failed, fear because you don't have enough qualifications, fear. He was afraid. You know why he was afraid? Because it was known. It was known what he had done. So you know what he did? He began to run. He ran for his life. He began to run. He ran so far away from his destiny. He ran as far as he could. He tried to put distance, and that might be you right now. When you're a bushel believer, you know you're one. Because you talk yourself out of your greatness. You talk yourself out of destiny. You run in the opposite direction to which or to where God is calling you. You talk yourself out of who you are. You talk yourself out of what God and who God says you are and what He has given you. Bushel believer. It's time for you to come out of hiding. The word tells me that Moses is on the backside of the mountain, but God calls him. I believe that through this video today, and through the sound of my voice, through this message to you today, God is calling you out. It's time for you to write that book. It's time for you to sing that song. It's time for you to write that poem. It's time for the world to hear your voice. It's time for you to come out of hiding. Be blessed.